Haribo. Let us chant from verses 26 to 35 of chapter 10. Ashvatha sarvavrikshanam devarshinam cha naradaha gandharvanam chitraradaha siddhanam kapilo munihi uchchai shravashav mashvanam Vidhimam amritodbhavam airavatam gajendranam naranam cha naradhipam ayudhanam aham vajram dhenunam-asmi kamadhu prajanashchasmi gandharvaha Sarparnam-asmi vasukihi anantaschasmi naganam varuno yadasamaham pitrunam-atyamachasmi yamasam-yamatamaham prahladashchasmi daityanam kalha kalhayatamaham mriganam cha mrigendroham vainateyascha pakshinam pavana pavatamasmi ramashastra-bhritamaham chashanam makaraschasmi Srotasamasmi janavi sarganam-adhirantascha madhyam chaivahamarjuna adhyatma-vidya-vidyanam madha-pravadatamaham aksharanam-akarosmi Bandhasamasikasya cha ahamevakshaya kalaha khataham vishvato mukha mrityu sarvaharashchaham udbhavascha bhavishyatam kirti shri vakshanahrinam Smritir-medha dhriti-kshama Brihat-sama-tatha-samnam Gayatri-chandasamaham Masanam-margashirshoham Rithunam-kusumakaraha
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavit Vishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll take up the clarifications from the previous one and then we'll move on to the text. First question from the previous class, Mala. The question is, you are saying mental agitation is the symbol of people going stumbling down in values of life. Some may like to be in a situation and enjoy it too, those spiritually below standards. So, do such people to feel the agitation? The question. from previous class. You are saying mental agitation is a symbol of people going stumbling down in values of life. Some may like to be in a situation and enjoy to those spiritually below standards. So, do such people too feel the agitation? The answer: they are already agitated. They don't feel the agitation, they are already agitated. All situations that a human being is in is their own creation. Every situation that you go through is what you have created for yourself, which you have asked for yourself. Say you have asked means you don't directly ask, like I want it. The way that you live life, your lifestyle, the values that you practice, the desires that you entertain, a cumulative effect of all this put together. When we say whatever you experience is what you have asked for, nobody directly goes and asks anything. Don't take it too literally. Anything that we say, don't take it. Nobody goes and asks, give me this, give me suffering. Will anybody ask? Nobody will ask, give me suffering. And everybody is suffering. So what does it mean? The situations that you are in at any given point of time, the people, the environment, the situation, everything that you meet in life, that you come across in life is because of the way you live life, your lifestyle, the sadhanas that you practice, the values that you live, your character. So all that you go through in life is a combined effect of all these factors put together. Are you able to follow? Again, I repeat, all this you go through in life is nothing but a combined effect of all this put together. Therefore, whenever a human being is agitated, disturbed, what does it mean? There is a fall. Agitation means a fall. What Mala is saying is, sir, there's no stumbling down on spiritual values and all. I just like to be in a situation. The fact that you are in that situation already is the fall. And you are already agitated. You are already agitated, or you may not know that you are agitated. Or you may not know that you are creating, you may not understand that you are preparing the ground for you are resting. Seems to be everything is all right around you. It's like the rest period between 2 rounds of boxing. It's like the period of rest. There is a boxing ring you get into, you get completely hit, bleeding, one more hit, you will die on the stage. The fellow rings the bell. There is a break. You take a break. Now everything seems to be, now nothing is all right, because that rest is nothing but a preparation for another round of boxing, another round of getting to it. Therefore, to answer Mala's clarification, the downfall is already happened. It is impossible that a person is falling down and not be agitated. That possibility doesn't exist at all. What she's saying is, I may not be following any spiritual values. I'm just in a situation like watching a movie. What's wrong in watching a movie like that kind of a situation? Doesn't matter. It is going to be agitation. Are you okay? This is answering Mala. Yes.
I didn't understand her question at all.
The question. Previous question ku ponga oru nimisham. Question இன்னும் புரியல, அதுக்குள்ள நான் ஆன்சரே முடிச்சிட்டேன். Previous question போங்க. You are saying mental agitation is a symbol of life going down in values of life. Balti, I said last week. Remember that? Remember that? Balti? Some may like to be in a situation and enjoy it too. You are in a situation where kamya karma. You are in a situation where you are in a situation which is of a some like to be in a situation and enjoy. What situation? Situation that is not of a very high spiritual value. While they are in a situation and enjoying, such people, will they feel the agitation? That's what she is asking. Able to follow?
I thought situation means dukkha, then what is that? So, I don't understand.
Some may like to be in a situation and enjoy, like watching a movie. They are not agitated at that point of time. They are not agitated at that point of time. They are not agitated. Will they still be agitated? The answer is yes. The very fact that they want to go into a situation itself is because of agitation. Why they even want to get into a situation? The very fact that they want to get into a situation itself is because of mental agitations, and they want freedom from the mental agitation. So I want to get myself into a situation of enjoyment so that I can be free from mental agitation. So already they are agitated. Is it okay? Next question. Okay. Next question. Oh, next question by Ranjini. Choice la udungola sila question la sila perla. Eவ்வளோ வீட்லயும் அதே, கிளாஸ்லயும் அதே, too much. மானிட்டருக்கெல்லாம் பவர் கிடையாது போட்டிருக்கு. ஸ்பீக்கருக்கே பவர் இல்லைங்கிறல்ல, அப்புறம் இங்க இருந்து மானிட்டர் பவர். Okay, what is the question now? Bhakti is a demonstration of humility. That is, recognizing the limitations, helplessness, and acceptance of ignorance and helplessness. And Bhakti also means you are supported by the divine, infinite, and perpetual divine grace is reigning. I am blessed always. I am not self-made. Then, two definitions are given. Okay. Now, how is it possible that when perpetual divine grace is reigning, when I am blessed always and supported by the divine, I feel helpless, ignorant, and I should recognize the same, is the question. Second, isn't the definition contradictory? I should rather feel confident and strong, not weak and helpless. Is the question clear? So two definitions for Bhakti is given. So the first clarification is, how is it possible that when perpetual divine grace is reigning, when a person is blessed always and supported by the divine, where is the feeling of helplessness, ignorant, and recognizing that comes in? Second, isn't the definition itself contradictory? I should rather feel confident and strong, not weak and helpless. This is the question. Answer. Number one, perpetual divine grace is reigning is what somebody is telling you, which you don't understand, which you don't have conviction. Again, I repeat. Somebody is saying there's a perpetual divine grace. You don't believe in it. You don't have a conviction in it. Are you able to follow? Number one. Number two, not only you don't believe that there is a perpetual divine grace that supported you, you say, I am a self-made person. I did everything by myself. What all struggles I went through, sir, against all odds in life. If anybody in my position, they would not have survived. See how I survived all that, and I'm standing tall now. Each and everything here is each and every brick in this house is my hard work. Ram Subramaniam. I can't say this about my house, huh? Because if I look at all the bricks in my house, யார் பேர்லாம் வேணாமோ அவங்க பேர்லாம் தான் வருது இல்லையா? ஒரு பிரிக்கை பார்த்தா கணேஷ் பேர் தெரியும். Who wants to see his face and remember him? ஒரு பிரிக்கு பார்த்தா கணேஷ் பேர் வருது, ஸ்ரீகாந்த். இன்னொரு பிரிக்கை பார்த்தா ஸ்ரீனிவாசன் பேர் வருது. Who wants to remember? இல்லையா? சரி, எல்லாத்தையும் முடிச்சுட்டு அப்பாட கொஞ்ச நேரம் படுக்கலான்னு போனா ரஜினி பேர் வருது பெருசா. Who wants to remember? So at least I can't say each and every brick in this house is not made by not mine. அப்பாடான டைனிங் டேபிள் உட்காரலன்னா வெங்கட் பேர் வருது. So are you able to follow? Each and every brick in this house is my blood, my sweat. So two wrong notions the human being has. One is there is no support at all for me. Second is without any support, I did everything by myself. Are you able to follow? Bakthi reverses it. Bakti says there is a perpetual divine grace that is supporting you always. Number one. Number two, the ego can never prostrate in the area of helplessness. The ego can never surrender in the area of helplessness. In the area of helplessness, the ego wants to, in the area of your helplessness, what the ego wants to do. When you are helpless in a situation, you are in a helpless situation, what will the ego want to do? Somehow it will want to take control of the situation. Somehow it will want to take control of the situation. Somehow it will want to decide things in the way that it suits the ego. So where is the helplessness? Are you able to follow? Therefore, where is the recognition of limitation? In Bhakti, we give two angles because of these two notions. Are you able to follow? Because of these two notions, each and every notion, we try to demolish it. So from one angle, when we talk about where the human being says, I am a self-made person, they say, no, you didn't achieve anything by yourself. There has been a lot of support. I am a lonely person. I don't have anybody to support me. Nobody is there for me. Ego goes into all this weird state of existences, no, isn't it? You can feel lonely in a crowd, isn't it? You can feel lonely crowd. You can feel lonely in your house. You can feel lonely. What do you do? How ungrateful it is. In your house, if you feel lonely, it means the ego has reached its, the peak. I don't know what word to use. Downfall, whatever be it, isn't it? Where so many people around wishing your welfare, but the ego simply ignores everything, and the ego says, I want one person who will dance according to my tunes. If that one person is not there who will not dance according to my tunes, I start feeling lonely. Loneliness ka definition puriyudha? Anshu, understand loneliness now? Loneliness means what? I need one person who will dance. If I say stand up, sit down, sit down. If I have a headache, that person should stay quiet. If I am smiling and that person has a headache, should still smile. In the mother oral kadaiglanna, you will start feeling lonely. Able to follow? From where does it come? Where does utter selfishness? Are you able to follow? This is just being, this is simply being completely selfish, utterly selfish. Bhakti is trying to reverse it. It always says, what do you mean lonely? There is always a support. So there is no need to feel lonely at all. You are not feeling lonely. You are only saying, I don't have slaves around me. Everybody wants slaves. எல்லாருக்கும் 2-3 slave வேணும். இல்லையா? ஒன்னு இருந்தா பத்தாது. Isn't it? Start with 1 and 3-4 இருக்கணும். இல்லையா? Everybody likes those slaves around. இல்லையா? The first slave you try is with the parents. Yeah, you cry, and when you cry, and when you cry, and when you see your parents getting agitated, disturbed by your crying, you understand now. What do you understand from that? You got 2 slaves now. Yeah, you got 2 slaves. After a while, you realize what? They have their own priorities and no more, not so much. So the attention goes to, now the attention goes somewhere else. Are you able to follow? Boyfriend, girlfriend, my family, எல்லாம் அப்பதான் வரும், isn't it? As though you never had a family before, isn't it? You had a family even before, no, isn't it? There's a father, there's a mother, there is a brother, there's a sister, there are cousins, there are friends. Not that you didn't have a family before. Nobody agreed to be your slave, that's all. Or they were all temporarily your slaves, and then they left you and went away, taking care of their own stuff. Now you want your permanent slaves. Yeah. Okay. And what is the way to get a permanent slave? Ram Subramanian. Correct. Marriage. Okay. Condition for marriage is what? What is the condition for marriage? Srikanth. Slavery. You should be my slave. Other person also says, you should be my slave. And how long they can be slave to each other? So what will they do? You know the definition of slave? Slave na enna artham? A slave means one who had freedom in the past and lost it now. On the slave. So he's tortured because of the remembrance of the freedom. Are you able to follow? Slave means, again I remember, again. Slave means, Venkatachalam, definition puriyadha slave ku. He's laughing. I don't know why he's laughing so much. I don't know why he's so happy today. Good, very good. Very good. Slave means one who tasted freedom in the past, one who has a memory of the freedom, for whatsoever reasons that freedom is lost. So there is an intense craving to go back to that state of freedom. Are you able to follow? Slavery continues. And then the partner also says, I can't be your slave and all. Yeah. Or let us say an agreement of slavery. First half of the day, you be my slave. Second half of the day, I'll be your slave. That also doesn't work. Then only pets come into life, isn't it? Then only pets come into life. Why they come into life? Because you can just play with them for a few minutes. For a few minutes, you can play with them and then leave them alone, isn't it? And they will be sitting in one corner, waiting for you, looking at you, isn't it? And whenever you feel like going and playing, you will go. And that also, if it starts barking and coming and scratching you, asking you to come and play with it, what happens? What happens then? drop the pet also and take a doll. Doll means அதுதான் ரோபோலாம் வேறு இல்லையா. ஃப்ரம் பெட்ஸ்லேருந்து we have matured to அதுக்கு பேர் இன்டெலிஜென்ஸ் டெவலப்மெண்ட் தான். Deterioration of human beings now. From another human being to animals to dolls, from dolls to robots now. Why? All that you need is to plug it in. That's all, isn't it? ஒரு நாளைக்கு சார்ஜ் பண்ணி விட்டா போதும், அது பாட்டில். Are you able to follow? See, all these stems from one basic factor of loneliness. In the story, don't forget the starting point. What is the starting point of all that? There is a sense of loneliness. Bhakti comes and tells you, how foolish of you to think that you are. How foolish of you to think you are lonely. There is a perpetual divine grace. Are you able to follow? Since ego has very many wrong notions, each and every definition tried to remove that particular wrong notion. You follow? There's no contradiction. All Vedantic knowledge, it looks like contradiction because they are dealing with your mind, which is full of contradictions. It's not the knowledge that is contradictory. The mind that they are trying to address is contradictory. Because the mind that they are trying to address is contradictory, by default, they will also appear like contradictory. So Krishna will say, what can I do, Arjuna? You are talking like that. When the person is contradicting, they don't understand the contradiction. They will only see why the other is contradictory. If you see from verses 28 to 40, 42 in chapter 1, you see how many contradictions he did in a matter of 10 verses. In chapter 3, that same Arjuna is telling Krishna, what did he say? That Arjuna who is utterly contradictory and confused in chapter 1 tells Krishna in chapter 3. What did he tell Krishna in chapter 3? Tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyoham apnuyam. Don't mati pesakudadu. Say it clearly. Why are you contradicting? Krishna would have felt taking the chakra and first fellow that Krishna would have wanted to eliminate from the whole battlefield is Arjuna. Are you able to follow? Different notions of the mind, they try to address. When they address different notions of the mind, it will appear contradictory. Are you able to follow?
So I'm contradicting and knowledge is dealing with my contradiction.
Yes.
So it appears to be contradictory.
Yes. Since it is very difficult to understand how my mind is so contradictory. See, this is that's why every class I keep repeating the same thing. You don't mind means bundle of contradictions. Mind means bundle of contradictions. That's why it doesn't know what it wants. Contradiction means it doesn't know what it wants. In English, they say, no. Eating the cake and having it too. That's contradiction. Raj. Isn't it? Either you have the cake or you eat it. Are you able to follow? But the mind, because of the contradiction, says, I want to both. As I keep eating the cake, perpetually the cake should be. You start eating it, it's gone. They struck me long back when my mother used to make a sweet that I like. 4 hours she will toil and the sweet will come only in one. Not even 1 cup full it will get. 3 spoons the cup is 3 spoons, the cup is empty. Looking at it, I'm so happy. Eating it, I'm so happy. And the quantity reducing is making me unhappy, because you never know when you are going to get it again. Are you able to follow? But this is natural, no, sir. Correct. Insanity is natural for the mind. Being insane is natural for the mind. That's why this knowledge, the intellect is necessary, because insanity is natural for the mind. Understand? As far as the mind is concerned, it is perfectly logical to be illogical. Again, I repeat, it is perfectly logical for the mind to be illogical. It is perfectly reasonable for the mind to be unreasonable. Anybody has conquered this mind, fought with this mind, understood this, and overcome this, oh my God. I don't know how these people can even achieve this. Because it is perfectly reasonable for the mind to be unreasonable. Contradiction in my unreasonable nature will look very reasonable. Are you able to follow? That's why it is perfectly reasonable for the mind to be unreasonable. While everybody around you will say it is unreasonable, your mind will say it's reasonable. Are you able to follow? So they are only trying to address this contradictory nature of the mind. There is no contradictions. Are you okay? Any other clarifications? No more. Okay. What are we studying now? Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10. Mind, contradiction, story number 1. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10. Up to verse 27, we have been studying. Up to verse 27, we concluded. We will move on to, sorry, one more clarification.
Said, the selflessness also conquer the 6 desires and attachment, yes. But unselfishness or conquer the
Yes. The question is, does unselfishness conquer the 6 or selflessness conquer the 6? Does it 6 means Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya, Bhaya, Dvesha. There are these 6. There are these 6 enemies sitting inside you. What conquers this? Unselfishness or selflessness? Unselfishness. Unselfishness helps you to conquer these 6. Selflessness helps you to understand you are divine. Unselfishness helps you to conquer these 6. Because of your unselfishness, when you have conquered these 6, you will develop a very penetrative capacity. Your intellect is so powerful. Your intellect is so strong. You see life with such a clarity. That state becomes a selfless state. Are you able to follow? So, to answer the question, which helps you to conquer the 6? Unselfishness.
Directly from unselfishness, it can become selfless.
That very unselfishness one day will mature into selflessness. Yes, nobody can practice selflessness. I can keep selflessness as the goal. This is where I want to reach. Selflessness becomes the goal. What is the path? Unselfishness is the path. Sometimes you can get carried away by your unselfishness, That you need not worry now. How not to get carried away by unselfishness? Must be worried by whom? One who is unselfish. Everyone follow? Yeah. Who should worry about not getting trapped in that unselfishness? One who is unselfish. So what do we say? To conquer the six, krodha, lobha, mada, matsarya, bhaya, dvesha, it is unselfishness that will help you to conquer the six. How does unselfishness help you to conquer the six? Unselfishness means the attention has shifted to the other. Unselfishness means the focus is on the other. The moment the attention shifts to the other, you are no more worried about yourself. When you are no more worried, interested in yourself, these six comes down. These six will be powerful only when the attention is upon yourself. Only when the attention is upon yourself, these six will be powerful. Anger, jealous, greed, arrogance, envy, fear. All this is an expression of attention upon yourself. So when the attention shifts, to that extent, you will be free from the six. So what do we do as a practice? Unselfishness becomes the way of life. Unselfishness becomes the way of life. After you. Anything in life, you always think about after you. A time comes where selflessness means there is no I, there is no you. That is selfless. There is no I, there is no you. Don't worry about that now. What will help you to conquer the six? The question. Is it unselfishness or selflessness? What will help you to conquer the six? Unselfishness. Loka sangraham evapi. Work for the benefit of the others. When you are in the house, work for the benefit of the house. When you are working in an organization, work for the welfare of the organization. When you are driving on the road, try to accommodate others also. It's an attitude. Are you able to follow? Opposite of that is attention upon yourself all the time. You are driving to a meeting, there's a funeral procession delaying you. You'll get very angry at the fellow who is dead, isn't it? You say, why these fellows have to die now? Why can't this fellow die? You can get angry at that also. Isn't it? You can get angry at that fellow also. Will they go the same road? Only they also have to use no. For you also the same road will be used one day, isn't it? Some fellow will curse you also, isn't it? Some fellow will curse you. Correct? When I was getting married, my father-in-law had a dream. Even today, my whole wife's family, including my wife, they are very agitated about it. And they have not forgiven me for that. One ritual this we have. What is that? The son-in-law will be made to sit in the car. Isn't it? Like a museum piece, that fellow will be sitting in the car. And he will be raw and 50 fellows walking around, 100 fellows walking. What is that ritual called? My son-in-law. Already isn't it? They'll do that. I told my father-in-law, I am not sitting. I am not coming. He said, why? he fixed a wedding hall right on the GST road. And 7 o'clock in the evening, 8 o'clock in the evening, thousands are going back home. Yes, some mothers are rushing home, some fathers are rushing home, there are kids alone, and in that whole agitated state, and this car will not go in a speed also. This car will go inch by inch by inch, it will go. 1 hour it will take. He said, do you want our wedding to be blessed or cursed? He said, blessed. Abdina idella uttrungo, I said. Till the last day, he was very, even from heaven, if he is listening to this also, he will be agitated now. Isn't it? Oh, only one person, one son-in-law. Everybody will get only one son-in-law. No, how many son-in-laws you will get? Only one son-in-law. He is saying, oh, only one son-in-law I am getting. And I don't know, he thought some heavenly fellow descended. Unselfishness. Minimum thing. Don't try to be a nuisance to. Don't try to be a nuisance to another. Even if you can't be of some positive help, at least don't try to be at least don't cause pain. Unselfishness is you positively work for the welfare of the others' happiness. You follow what I'm saying? So, freedom from the six come when you are unselfish. When you're selfless, the distinction goes away. Who is serving whom? Everything is there is divine only. Since everything is divine, who's helping whom? All that is a very, very high state, which is of no use to talk about now. You follow what I'm saying? Therefore, what will help you freedom from the six? Freedom from the six you will get only through unselfishness. Therefore, be as unselfish as you can. Every time you want to be unselfish, mind will resist. Mind will say you are being very foolish. Others are exploiting you. Others are only making use of you. Others are exploiting you. It will, all this drama will happen. Ignore all that. See, so many times you tried unselfish in the past, the mind said it and you fell for that. At least now what you should do, say, I will be unselfish. Yes. Practice of unselfishness alone, one day you will mature to be selfless. You follow? Selfless means no other interest other than liberation. That is selfless state. Mumukshatva. Understand, selfless means no other interest in life other than liberation, moksha. Now, there are list of priorities. There are list of things that I want to do. Of the 10 things that I want to do, one thing is liberation. 10th list, 1, 2, 3, 4, number 10, isn't it? Selfless means the other 9 won't exist. There will be only one. What is that only one? Moksha. How do you know that you have come to that state? What is the yardstick that you know that you have come to that state of mokshatva? You see divine everywhere. How do you know that you have mumukshatva? How do you know that you have mumukshatva? There are few indicators. The first indicator you know that you have mumukshatva is when you start seeing divine everywhere. There's only divine. You are so longing that you want to, the two should become one. That's all. Which is a very, very high state. So the indication of mumukshatva is you see divine everywhere. Are you okay? When you are seeing divine everywhere, what happens? World will stop disturbing you. World will stop agitating you. There is no anger, there is no jealous, there is no greed, there is no nothing. Are you able to follow? It's not that you are having anger and you are fighting it and want moksha also. It's not possible. The very fact that all these are there means you need to fight with this. Mumukshatva means seeing divine everywhere. Seeing divine everywhere means no anger, no jealousy, no greed, no fear, no nothing. Another indication of mumukshatva is this vairagya, detachment. No temptations at all. Nothing can tempt you. Otherwise, it's a question of price. Everybody gets tempted. Everybody has a price. Somebody will fall for 100 rupees. Somebody will fall for 1,000 rupees. Somebody will fall for 1,000,000. But nevertheless, there is a price. Meaning, there is a fall. There is a somewhere down the line, a human being is prone to fall. Mumukshatva means that possibility of falling down is eradicated completely. No more you will fall because nothing can tempt you anymore. First indication is divine everywhere. Second indication is vairagya, detachment, sannyasa. Whatever word you want to use, you can use. Third indication. You can't escape this indication. The third indication is, is your mind your instrument, or you are the instrument used by the mind? Again, I repeat. Is mind your instrument, or you are the instrument used by your mind? Invariably, what happens in a human being? The mind is using you as it is. The mind is not an instrument in your hands. It is like you get into the car decides where it wants to go. And wherever car goes, you follow. How does it work? You're able to follow? You get into the car, who should decide? That's why we say, that's why concentration is the indication of spiritual growth. Concentration is the indication of spiritual growth. A person of mukshatva will be able to concentrate. Concentrate means you put the mind in a place, it will stay there. It will not go anywhere else. So, third indication of spiritual growth is what? Are you the instrument of the mind, or mind is your instrument? You know, இப்போ அதெல்லாம் ட்ரை எல்லாம் பண்ணவே வேணும், எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்ட் எல்லாம் பண்ணவே வேணும், ட்ரை எல்லாம் பண்ணவே வேணும். We all know that we all know very well that we are. Who's using you? The mind is, you are the instrument of the mind. Mind is not your instrument. Are you able to follow? This being the case, what should a person do to come to that mumukshatva? Become unselfish. That's why the technique to say whether mind is your instrument or you are instrument of the mind, give it a point of focus and say, focus on this. Immediately mind will jump. Immediately mind will jump. Astira, Chanchala, Balavat, Dridam. Chapter 3. Arjuna, this mind is Astira. This mind is Chanchala. It is Balam. In the negative sense. Dridam, obstinate, unyielding. These 4 characteristic features of the mind can be tamed and disciplined by unselfishness. Are you able to follow? Unselfishness, na, doing unselfish actions, not பேசினே இருக்கக்கூடாது unselfishness பத்தி. Unselfishness means doing. It is doing, not talking, it's doing. Mind will not allow you to, are able to follow? So it is selflessness to liberation. So it is from unselfishness to selflessness. First thing, I should feel ashamed that I am the instrument of my mind. Second is I should be having the guts, I should be having the backbone to say I will be the boss. To say I should be the boss needs courage. Are you okay?
When this fear or agitation or jealousy comes in, and you try to replace it with unselfish thoughts, the fear and the jealousy become more. Somehow you're not able to replace with unselfish thoughts.
Yes. Now, what she's saying is her struggle she's talking about, which is the struggle of everybody. The struggle that she's talking about is whenever this anger or jealousy or anything comes, and when you try to do something about it, you feel so helpless that you are not able to overcome it. Correct? He's saying, I'm trying, nothing is okay. Practice. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha guhyate. In chapter 3, again he says, Arjuna asked the same question to Krishna. What you are asking is what Arjuna said to Krishna. Can this mind be conquered, Arjuna? Sorry. Can this mind be conquered, Krishna? Kega nalla irukudhu. Can this be conquered at all? It is not. It's not possible. Because maybe he has tried it in the past and found out that he couldn't do it. So he's asked this question. Can this mind be conquered at all? Can this mind be tamed at all? No doubt it is difficult, he says. No doubt it is difficult. He didn't say it's easy. He said, no doubt it is difficult. How to do it? By practice, abhyas, practice. By constant practice. That constant practice is called tapas, sadhana. You follow? That constant tapas is called tapas. Tapas means you feel like something is burning in you. That is tapas. You want to, there is this jealous, there is this anger, it's burning you up, and you try to douse it. Seems to be, the intensity of the fire seems to multiply. Correct? That's what you are saying. The intensity seems to multiply. It's not multiplying. Every time you try to conquer it, you are becoming aware of the intensity of your jealous. Are you able to follow? Don't misunderstand it as multiplication. It is not multiplying. Now only you are becoming aware of the intensity. Are you able to follow? See, previously, everybody thought, remember the two famous stories in Puranas. One is the churning the Milky Ocean. When you are churning the Milky Ocean, what happens? The poison came out first. What is the poison? what all negativities was there, which you were not even aware of. All along, the person has been thinking that I am more or less all right, sir. Little bit problems here and there I have, but more or less I'm a very unselfish person only. Is there anybody who says I am selfish? Is there anybody who has the courage to say I'm selfish? Everybody believes they are unselfish only. Yeah, here and there little bit, sir, but overall, if you see percentage, I am very unselfish only. That's the notion. It means what? The person is not even aware of the intensity of the 6. Now, when you start doing the spiritual practices, trying to become unselfish, when you are trying to become unselfish, what happens? In that unselfishness, the immediate problem gets sorted out. Carefully follow how it works. The immediate problem, the intensity of the immediate problem comes down. But instantly what is happening? That which is hidden starts manifesting. That which is hidden starts manifesting. Are you able to follow? When that hidden starts manifesting, you misunderstand it as multiplication. Follow? The very fact that you have made a resolve to become unselfish and you are struggling to become unselfish means it will not multiply. Take it. Are you able to follow? The very fact that you have resolved to become unselfish and you are making an effort to become unselfish means it will not multiply. It's against the law. It cannot multiply. But you feel like that. Why? Because you are not aware of it previously. Now you have become aware of it. Are you able to follow? Now that you have become aware of it, what you should do? Don't whip yourself. Don't punish yourself. You only say thank you to your unselfish practice. Why? Because now you know what you have to deal with. Correct? Now you know what you have to deal with. The fact that you know what you have to deal with itself is very liberating. Is very liberating. Are you able to follow? Therefore, it is not multiplying. It is simply what was hidden is only manifesting. Is everybody, because it's not that, it is not her problem. This is the problem of everybody who tries to become unselfish. Seriously. Genuinely, if we want to become, it looks like multiplying. It doesn't multiply. But sir, in the problem, in the conflict, I have never faced this conflict at all till it looks like I'm only cruising. You have not yet started becoming unselfish. You are only talking unselfish. When you get into unselfish actions, you will know. Are you able to follow? Because there are people who tell me, sir, but I have not experienced all that. Everything is just falling into place so well, and I'm only cruising. Thank God, Narayana. So what else to do now? Are you able to follow? So it doesn't multiply. I'm only simply becoming aware of the intensity of the selfishness. Only thing that you have to be careful is not to whip yourself for that. Don't get into this self-whipping and all. Again, it's the same ego. That's all. Self-whipping becomes the same selfishness. There's nothing holy about it. Are you okay?
So if the first experience is kind of a simple burn, starting with the burn tenfold, what is it called?
Same question. It starts with simple and it is going on increasing.
Because you know that you are fighting it.
Yes. It is not increasing. You are only becoming aware of the intensity of it.
So the more the burn, the more the intensity.
The more, that's how deep in you. Again, I'm repeating the same answer. When it is more, it is not increasing. That's how intense it is already. You are only becoming aware of it now. Are you able to follow? You are only becoming aware of it. That's how knowledge is so beautiful. It makes you aware of it and also has built-in methods to not to whip yourself for it also. How? There is that bhakti, there is a sacrifice, there is the devotion, all that comes and doesn't make you to go back to coma again. All that helps you to transcend it. Are you able to follow? It comes, this helps you to transcend it. If you expect all this to happen overnight, it will not happen. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Meaning, long time effort is required. Bahunam janmanam ante. Are you able to follow? Seriya?
In unselfishness also you said the six are not there. If there is no six, it means vairagya. And in selflessness also you are saying there is the mumukshatva person doesn't have a
in unselfishness, the six are there and you are trying to overcome that. Unselfishness is a practice to overcome the six. In selflessness, the six doesn't exist. One is trying to overcome it. Other is it's not at all there. There is a difference. Are you able to follow? In selflessness, you are not fighting the six. In selflessness, it won't be there. Are you able to understand the difference?
State of unselfishness.
The six will be there and you are trying to overcome that. You are trying to fight it and conquer it. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya, Bhaya, the six will be there. When you are trying to overcome that, that is called unselfishness. Are you able to follow? In selflessness, what will happen? See, a person who is a victim of these six cannot ask for moksha and all. They will only ask for, see, according to them, moksha means freedom from the six. They think moksha means, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, I am a liberated person, sir. No. You have just become an ordinary human being now. This ordinary human being should aspire for moksha. Gradations are there. Are you able to follow? For a person who is caught up in the six itself will look like self-realization. That six is not self-realization. That is something so different. We all have the potential to go there. We are all aspiring to get there. The entire aspiration for all the sessions and all the practices is for what? Is to get there. Are you able to follow?
So when one of these six are there, and you can see that it's trying to be unselfish, and one of these six are there, and you can see that depth of it. So what do you do about it?
Continue to practice unselfishness. The question is, what do I do? When the six is there, what do I do? Continue to practice unselfishness.
Replace them with that.
Yes, replace them with unselfish actions. Not replace it with thought. Replace with action. Unselfishness is related to action. Are you able to follow? Get into action. Get into action.
Replace the thought with unselfish thoughts. Like when you're getting
Action. Whenever the six comes, get into action. That's all. Forget about thinking. You have to, unselfishness means doing action.
So with the agitation, you do the action.
Yes, with the agitation, you have to do the action. Correct.
Then the agitation goes, then
Hopefully, it will go. With the agitation, you have to do the action. Oh, she has taken it very seriously, Pular. Venkat. சொல்லுங்க அவள்கிட்ட அப்புறமா இது வேதாந்தெல்லாம் அவ்வளவு சீரியஸ் எல்லாம் எடுத்துக்கூடாதுன்னு. நம்மள மாதிரி கேட்டுட்டு விட்டுறணும். Wow, she's taken it up so seriously, looks like. Correct. When you are fighting it out, get into action.
Not even complain about it to someone.
Complain, cry, but get into action. Remember the example, if there is a death in the family, you can't sit crying in one corner. What do we say do? What do we say to do? Crying, get up. Crying, light the switch. Crying, boil the milk. Crying, make the coffee. Crying, drink the coffee. Crying, do everything. Are you able to follow? Purida, Kulatur. Yeah, crying, do everything. But don't stop. Stopping is stubborn. When you stop, you have yielded to the mind. You have yielded to the mind and it has become strong. That's why the answer is get into action, get into action. But immediately our problem is what action, sir? The action that was given to me is this. Say every time you get, he said, wash all the toilets, he said. Even today, one thing, if I know how to do properly, washing the toilets. Maybe that's the only thing I learned till now. He said, anything you do is wash. No, I didn't go to wash the toilets. You follow what I'm saying? Action means immediately we'll think about what action, good action. The mind will not yield to action. Mind will not want to do an unselfish action. It will say, pamper me, then I will do unselfish action. Are you able to follow the problem? Pamper me, then I will become unselfish. See, the very pampering itself, you are going drowning. You are drowning in selfishness. How can there be any unselfishness after that? Are you able to follow? But all mind will say only one thing. What? Pamper me, I will be unselfish. Pamper me, I'll become unselfish. Are you able to follow? Unselfishness means we think we are doing a favor to another. It's a colossal misunderstanding of unselfishness. Shankar, Purida, unselfishness na அடுத்தவங்களுக்கு ஃபேவரே கிடையாதுங்க. You should prostrate to them. Why? Because they are helping you to get rid of your six. Are you able to follow? Unselfishness is not a favor to another. The problem of ego is it believes unselfishness means I am doing a favor to, because who's the recipient of who's the beneficiary? Somebody, no. In unselfishness, the other is not a beneficiary. In unselfishness, who's the beneficiary? You are the beneficiary. You understand that you will become unselfish. Are you able to follow? Why the mind is resisting unselfishness is because you believe when you are unselfish, you are suffering and somebody is reaping the benefit. Purida, Vijay. Unselfishness problem என்னன்னா, we believe that I am suffering while other is enjoying the benefits of my labor. Why should somebody enjoy the benefits of my labor? இதெல்லாம் இதுதான் இந்த வேதாந்தம், இந்த unselfishness எல்லாம் பைத்தியக்காரத்தனம்ன்றது இதனால தான். Because I am suffering and somebody is enjoying the benefits of my labor. How do you even convince your mind? Are you able to follow the actual problem of unselfishness? Vedanta comes and says, Vedam Bhakti inude glory, the beauty of Bhakti. Jnanam doesn't help here. Bhakti and action alone will help here. Aham Brahmasmi, Maya, Mithya lo unna velai kavadu ingallam. Karma and Bhakti, action and devotion, and the combination of devotion and action alone will help. What is the combination of devotion and action? Getting into action. But mind will not cooperate. Why? Because mind will say, The other is a beneficiary. They don't deserve the service. Who deserves? These people? No, these people don't. Then who deserves your service? Nobody deserves. Everybody should serve. Again, you come back to the same vicious cycle. Are you able to follow? Again, you keep coming back to the same vicious cycle again and again and again. So in unselfishness, remember, that's where Vivekananda was asked, have you come to reform the world? Vivekananda said, God didn't create the world thinking that Vivekananda is going to come and save it. He who has made it know how to save it. My unselfishness is to take care of my mind, my problems. If somebody is helping you to get rid of your unselfishness, what you should do to them? What you should do to them? You should prostrate to them. Because without them, you can never get freedom from the sins.
So that person you're saying prostrate to
Yes.
make you angry.
You should be grateful to others who are allowing you to become unselfish. Are you able to follow? Very difficult to be unselfish. Very, very difficult to become unselfish. Are you able to follow? Because the problem is you believe that others don't deserve it. You believe others are the beneficiary. You believe you are the loser. See, when you are unselfish, you believe you are the loser and other is the beneficiary. The other, it is divine that is taking care of everybody, including you. All that you got to do is what? Unnecessarily, you have created the 6 and you have to get rid of the 6 that you have created. And it is so painful to let go of the 6. Why it is so painful to let go of the 6? Because these 6 are the most valuable possessions to you. Whatever you think as valuable, you can't let go of it. Correct? If something is valuable to you, you think it will be very painful to let go of it. These 6, according to you, is very valuable. That's why you can't let go of it. And these 6, you will give it another word and you will convince how the 6 is right. Human mind is so dangerous in creating new words and justifying these 6 as right. The human mind is so cunning. It will discover new words. It will discover new words, making you to justify how the 6 is right. You will say that this desiring and all is wrong, sir, but goal we should have, no? Correct? Desire and all we should not have, but goals in life we should have, no, sir? Your desire is the goal. What is the difference? Are you able to understand? But the moment you use some words, you will justify it. Krishna will say, Bhagavad Gita will say, okay, one more boxing round, isn't it? One more round, one more boxing round. Isavasi Upanishad says, winding path. இந்த மாதிரிலாம் பண்ணின்னு இருக்கிறவங்க will go through a long winding path. What is a long winding path? They go, they will follow. எதுவுமே ஜாஸ்தியா இருக்கக்கூடாது சார், கரெக்டா இருக்கணும்ல சார்? Isn't it? He always say anything in excess is, but certain minimum things has to be there, no? And what is minimum? What is minimum? Is there a thing called like that at all? No. Are you able to follow? So the human mind is so cunning in discovering words that will justify the presence of the 6. And then it will come back and ask, why am I agitated? Are you able to follow? it will say, it will not say jealous, it will say healthy competition is necessary, no sir? Huh? It will not say jealous, it will say healthy competition. Unselfishness means after you. Where is healthy competition? There is no competition at all in the first place. Are you able to follow? Everything, I don't know how many times I have sat and thought, what are all new words the human mind discovers to justify the six? I have a whole lot of it. Yeah, in the rendu moonu sonnale, people get very disturbed and agitated. If you give the whole list, you feel like committing suicide. Are you able to follow? How human mind discovers words to justify? Sir, anger, sir. Generally, I don't get angry and all, but adharma only gets me disturbed, sir. It means there is a justification for my anger. Are you able to follow? In everything, we have a word to justify justify. Unselfishness means what? You dig deep, you dig deep, you dig deep. Where? Into your own self. You don't have to dig deep and all into your own self. Simply bring the attention onto the other. Are you able to follow? Yeah, dig deep, not Raj. Dig deep. Simply shift your attention genuinely onto the other. Whatever is there inside will flare up. Flare up. You simply become aware of flare up. Now, increase your word, increase your meaning. It's not all that. Whatsoever was inside, you are simply becoming aware of it. They say some medicines do that. No. You will be all right. You take the medication, first to 2 days, you will feel like the disease have become more. And then it subsides. It's not that the medication has increased your disease now. The medication only brought out the disease to the surface, and continue the medication, you will be free from the disease. Are you able to follow? Unselfishness is the thing that brought about the diseases to the surface. You continue to be unselfish. Whatsoever the diseases are, will go. What are the diseases? First one, fear. That fear is the insecurity. Bhaya. Bhayam, fear. An unselfish person will never be frightened about anything. A selfish person will be frightened with 15 security cameras in the house and still the fellow is frightened, isn't it? Why? In case power fails, in case if they break the camera, in case if they do. Are you able to follow? Anger. Dvesha, hatred. You believe some of your hatred has legitimacy, no? Every human being is so convinced that some hatred of theirs has a legitimacy. Sir, corrupt people apata, how can we, sir? See, there is the divine, there is the law that is going to take care. Why do you have to have a hatred? By your hatred, are you going to change the other? Assuming that there is corruption. Assume, carefully follow, Commissioner. I am saying, assuming that there is corruption. I am not saying there is corruption. Ella assumption da. Assuming that there is corruption, there is the law, there is the divine law that's going to take care. Why should I have a hatred towards that person? Hatred implies that you don't have conviction in the law. You believe that your hatred is going to change any. Your hatred is only going to make you worse. Are you able to follow? Your jealousy has legitimacy. Your anger has legitimacy. Your greed has legitimacy. Your fear has legitimacy. But all poetry that we write will be about, all poetry that we write will be about love. All movies will be about sacrifice, isn't it? We enjoy another sacrificing. யாராவது sacrifice பண்றதை பார்த்தா we'll feel very happy. If I have to do, I will follow. Somebody's another move. See, why is, have you ever seen? It doesn't matter. எல்லா டிவி ஒரு இந்த டிவி மாதிரி ஒரு இல்லையா, பட் அதுல ஒரு குட் திங்ஸ் கூட இருக்கு இல்ல சார், இதுதான் ஜஸ்டிபிகேஷன். இல்லையா, அதுல கொஞ்சம் குட் திங்ஸ் கூட இருக்கு இல்ல சார், ஒரு குட் திங்கும் இல்ல அதுல. Why are you so negative against this TV? Why do you have such a dvesha towards watching this TV? நீங்க தான் சார் துவேஷம் வச்சுக்காதீங்கன்னு உங்களுக்கே அவ்வளோ துவேஷம் இருக்கு போல இருக்கு against this TV. Same superficial emotion in every language. Somebody is acting and the whole world is sitting and watching it for hours together. பார்த்துன்னு இருக்கிறாங்க. Nobody will want to get up and do something. Somebody is sacrificing, somebody is loving somebody is sacrificing for somebody. எல்லாம் drama, acting தான். Are you able to follow? Are you able to follow till now? We are so shallow in our thinking and in our life. Acting itself is so satisfying for us. நடிச்சா போறோம், புரியுதா? Acting is enough. Unselfishness is not about acting. Unselfishness is about doing. That's why you can be very easily cheated. If somebody pretending to be unselfish, somebody acting, you will fall for it very fast. That's why you all can be cheated very easily. All will fall very fast. Why? Because it is so we get carried away by acting. Have you ever seen 2-3 superficial emotions is what all serials is about? No, all movies is about 2-3 superficial emotions. Or what is it? What are the 2-3 superficial? Somebody will be genuinely loving. Somebody will make a sacrifice. Somebody will come and disturb that, and this fellow will fight it out. Uladana drama, isn't it? Are you able to follow? What is interesting in that? We are so happy watching somebody acting it out, not even actually living it. When you actually try to live it, the first attempt, it's so burning that you will quickly want to go back to selfishness. Are you able to follow? The first attempt you try to become unselfish burns you up so much that you quickly want to go back. Bakti, devotion, is that which neutralizes all this. Otherwise, conquering the six looks like a perpetual battle, struggle, crying. Tapas looks like tapas itself will look like suffering, isn't it? The six are there. You have to, இதெல்லாம் இவ்வளவு நேரம் பேசுனது பார்த்தா அப்பா செல்ஃப் டார்ச்சர் பண்ணிக்கணும் போல இருக்குது. It looks like, isn't it? It looks like அவருக்கு என்ன பேரு? Enjoying the suffering of others க்கு narcissism. Enjoying self-torture is called? What is that person called? ரெண்டு பேர் இருக்கிறாங்க இல்லையா? One is a narcissist, another is masochist. ரெண்டு பேர் இருக்காங்க. One fellow enjoying torturing others, another fellow enjoying torturing oneself. Spiritual practices will look like enjoying torturing oneself. Bakti makes it so beautiful. So beautiful in the sense there is no, it will remove the pain from the six. எப்போ the pain will get removed? Only when you consistently practice. Only when you consistently practice. Therefore, unselfishness is doing. Unselfishness means doing. Are you okay till now? With this, we conclude. We will continue next week. Venkat, நீங்க ஒரு லிஸ்ட் போட்டு வச்சுக்கோங்க. யாரெல்லாம் கொஸ்டின் கேட்டா சாய்ஸ்னா லிஸ்ட் போட்டு வச்சுக்கோங்க. அவளெல்லாம் எடிட் பண்ணிடுங்க. அந்த பேர்ல என்கிட்ட சொல்றாதுங்க. ஏன்னா எனக்கு அதுக்கு சம்பந்தம் கிடையாது. Don't make me party to that. Take names of all the people who you want to eject out of questioning. சரியா? We'll continue next week.